evening and welcome to this week's segment of Dominance and Difference. My name is Nadine Sheen and I will be your host. Tonight we'll take a look at the timeless, somewhat controversial argument of the battle between sexes. On the 27th of April 2012, an article regarding a gender equity program for the Berry-Barrimer Council in South Australia sparked interest nationwide. It is described as the 50-50 vision. The Gender Equity Program is a national accreditation and award scheme aimed at increasing the numbers of women in senior management roles and represented on council. One of the councillors, Mike Fuller, argued that the policy was aimed at artificially inflating female representation and could lead to men being overlooked for roles. He also argued that the policy was nonsense and similar to that of a social engineering experiment. He stated that perhaps at the moment the numbers outweigh in male favour, but if we go down this path, then we could exclude someone on the basis of sex, and that the accreditation is telling us we should do what the community doesn't really want us to do and bring this in to base decisions on. Councillor Michelle Campbell countered these arguments, suggesting that any program which helped make council more accessible to women was a positive move. Chief Executive David Beaton said pursuing the accreditation process would be beneficial for the council, the principle being we shouldn't have barriers. Councillor Trevor Chappell said the accreditation would recognise council's existing commitment to equal opportunity, that there isn't a problem with pursuing accreditation, getting a plaque on the wall. We do not discriminate, and if we're already doing it, then it's not a problem to get recognised. Despite movements in equality between genders, inequality still exists in many aspects of Australian society. In terms of national identity, we acknowledge that there are certain social expectations that determine individual roles of male and females. As a collective, we understand what it means socially to be male and female. However, in recent times, these ideas of what it means to be male and female have been questioned. This ranges from sexuality, capabilities within the workplace, to sport and creative art aspects within schools. We cross now to Anne Green via satellite to discuss this issue in relation to education. Good evening, Anne.
Hi, Nadine.
So, Anne, how would you go about teaching difference in relation to gender equality?
Well, Anne, I'm a Year 6-7 teacher, and I think it is important for students to understand that there are biological characteristics that set male and females apart. But in terms of opportunity, these differences should not determine their abilities to succeed. The article, as you mentioned earlier in the program, is a perfect example of dominance and difference in relation to gender. As the view of Councillor Fuller discusses the gender equity program, he makes it sound as if it's a threat to the collective or dominant view society has. The article could be used as a basis to analyse discrimination of gender, and you could hold a class debate for students to view both sides of the argument. In terms of curriculum, with health and physical education and art programs particularly, you hear a lot of students base their participation and categorise these subjects in relation to gender. Sandra Taylor, 2004, states it is important to remember that gender inequalities were not seen as a problem in the past. Historically, the education of girls and boys was designed to be different, as it was based on supposed natural differences and differences in future life roles. The roles of male and females within society differentiate quite dramatically as to what is accepted due to the stereotypes portrayed in the media and based upon this legacy of men always being in charge. The image about to appear on the screen is just one of the many examples of public pedagogies that we are exposed to and act as a signifier of acceptable behaviours.
How would this issue outlined in the article assist students to deepen their understanding about difference?
It comes back to how we teach this idea of difference through the curriculum and hidden curriculum within schools. By breaking the article down and analysing it in terms of discrimination against genders, I think students would find that by going ahead with the accreditation would make equality between genders more achievable. That this fear of men being overlooked in management roles because it is more accessible to women, I think that's exactly what their program is trying to avoid. Educating students to move away from these dominant views and to embrace change and difference is what we're aiming for. I think the fear of being labelled in reference to sexuality when engaging in activities outside the stereotypical view of your gender is another concern students have when actively engaging in the curriculum.
What about students' identity locations and sense of self?
Gender is an integral part of one's identity. and how they view themselves, and in turn how others might view them. Gilbert and Gilbert, 1989, state that we need to look carefully at the social context in which they are forming their features and understanding of themselves. Sexuality appears to dominate aspects of gender issues and is used as a means to stereotype. Recent studies have shown that males are becoming less expressive in all aspects of their life, particularly communication. The arts are predominantly beneficial in helping males to be more expressive. However, it relates directly to this issue of gender. Because I'm male, I can't like art. Liking art would make me look gay. That's a girl thing. Those are the sorts of feelings that students have towards those subjects they feel are opposite of their gender. It is the place in which we come from and the interactions within spaces that influence our sense of self. It is the male and female characteristics we learn from home first that build our initial foundations and understanding of gender. Then we move through institutions and we have social experiences, and we are subjected to public pedagogies that influence our understanding and again act as signifiers and inform our behaviours. How does this issue allow you to be a transformative educator in terms of overcoming disadvantages of groups within your classroom? Well, schools are a common social institution and an ideal place to effect social change, and we can do this by encouraging participation in all curriculum areas, despite preconceived ideas about certain subjects being for a specific gender. We have influence in the way we teach through our classroom pedagogies, and as teachers, we should promote equity in opportunities and achieving successful outcomes in all areas, regardless of gender. We can use our own signifiers through class discussions and images that view difference in a positive light, and how this makes each individual unique. It is basically showing the difference between the dominant view of male and female roles and the options available that steer away from these stereotypes. How does the Gender Equity Program allow you to reduce discrimination within your community? Promoting the Gender Equity Program would be a great place to start. Councillor Fuller made the statement that the Gender Equity Program is not what the public wants the council to base their decision on. However, there is no evidence to suggest that the statement is true. The policy aims to protect both genders and make opportunities more accessible to everyone. Students can take the principle of this initiative and apply it to their own leadership systems within schools. That a leadership role is to be based on the ability to fill job requirements, not physical or popularity attributes. Students can make posters and brochures with information relating to gender equity to distribute to the community. I would suggest holding a community seminar in regards to gender equity and the importance within school programs to give all students their best chance. Hopefully, for members of the community to take these ideas away and apply it to their own lives as well. The possibilities are certainly endless, and thank you for joining us tonight, and my pleasure. We'll be back after this break.